Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426 and today we have the review of the well-rumored Dino Emperor. Now I believe some Koreans have already received this and reviewed theirs, but as far as I know, unlike similar to Gundam Holic, they're all reviewing in Korean. So this has officially released in Korea and I received mine yesterday. For those, to give you reference, I was also one of the lucky ones who were able to pre-order this item in Korea as well. So yes, I'm Korean and who is also living in Korea. Alright, so before we start the box, I want to show you guys the box size. This thing is massive. Just to give you guys an idea, this box is even more bigger than Dino Commander. Dino Commander's box had to be big because of the trailer. This thing in general is just gigantic. This is like the biggest box I have, I think, other than my white base that I've reviewed so far. And that box is not going to be staying with me for a long time. Alright, so here we have Dino Emperor himself. Like the box being gigantic, this thing is also gigantic. Alright, so just to give the way how I'm going to review this video is that, so I'm not going to start off with Dino Emperor. The reason why I just started like this is because when you get him out of the box, he is in Dino Emperor form. Granted, the black purple pterodactyl was technically detached, but once again, you get the general idea. So once again, I'm going to detach. I'm going to basically cancel the combination, and then we'll be looking at all the dinosaur mechs. We'll be reviewing them one by one, and also transforming them one by one. And at the end, we'll combine them, and then we'll be reviewing Dino Emperor himself. Now, for those who don't know, this is actually from a show called Miniforce. Miniforce has been, has been out there for a few years as well. So the recent series the Dino Warrior series is that once again it uses the dinosaur concept, but for the past, over the years, the company that's been making the toys has changed. The company that's operating the brand has changed. So there has been a lot of changes regarding this brand, and it has become so much better. Even Rex Kaiser came out really nice, and all the other necessary stuff came out really nice as well. So this is the last mech that we see in the series. However, he only shows up for like 3 episodes, and then let's just say, yeah, something happens to it. But yeah. Alright, so once again, I'll be right back with the dino forms and we'll go off there. Okay, I'm back. So here we have all the 5 dino mechs in their form. So each of them have a name. So basically, we have the Emperor Tyrano, we have Emperor Tricera, we have Emperor Demetro, and then we have Emperor as we call it, Patera, and then we have Emperor Brachio. So once again, they're all based on their actual real counterpart dinosaur names that's going on. And once again, I think it's kind of goes out without saying is that everything you see here on the product here, there are no stickers. Everything is either painted or color separated, so you don't need to worry about applying stickers, or while you're playing with it, you don't need to worry about tearing the stickers up. So everything you see is as is. You don't need to worry about anything of the stickers, so because there are no at first. Alright, so I think the base, we'll start with the basics. So we'll start with from Emperor Tyrano, and then we'll start from the other gang, so that every time we transform, we'll have him prepared since he's the base, and then every time we transform something, we can just slap it on to Emperor Tyrano to make Dino Emperor. So once again, I'll be right back with everything cleaned up. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the start. We have the Emperor Tyrano. So just to give you guys a bit of context, is that these Dinoid warriors or mechs are technically ancient ones. So basically in the series, the main characters gets in a pickle, let's just put it that way, and they need more power. And then Rex Kaiser mentions that, there was actually another warrior out there back in the past that saved Earth really long time ago. So they find this temple that had these guys in it, let's just put it that way. Alright, so obviously Emperor Tyrano based on a T-Rex, so a very common dinosaur when you think about mechs as well. So this guy becomes the base of everything. So here is right next to Rex Kaiser in his dinosaur form. So just putting it side by side, how should I do this? These guys are so big, I have a little bit issues. So roughly, they're in the same bulk, it's just that their posture is a little bit different from each other. So you can tell, let's see, let's put it like that, yeah, okay. So, but you can definitely tell by overall mass it looks similar, but you can definitely tell Emperor Tyrano is a little bit more is going to be much more bigger in general, because his tail is longer and overall, and his main body is much more bulkier, and even the head's much more bigger than Rex Kaiser. So you can kind of get an idea or sense how this guy works. Alright, so we got that guy out of the way. So now let's see his articulation. Now each Dinoid has a little bit of articulation, but keep in mind most of the articulation you'll be seeing is in the Dino Emperor's form. So and the rest has very basic articulation. So the head here doesn't really move other than going upwards. It looks like it can go down, but no, that's more of a different thing. Now you can open its mouth and then reveal some stuff inside here. But yeah, you can open the mouth pretty well done. Everything you see is part separated, and there are going to be some parts that will be colored. The arms, obviously, T-Rex are not known for their arms, so they really simplify the arms. Even the toes are, like, you know, colored up. They will move up and down, and that is pretty much it. Now the legs obviously have some articulation, but keep in mind I'm just going to show you guys the basic articulation for the dinosaur. Obviously, because this part can actually you can open up and extend, but that's not really articulation. That's more of a for the combining form thing. So once again, I believe you can rotate the body roughly about 360. Yeah, 360 is possible. You can see all the ratchet joints. The legs can go forward, backward as well, not too straight because of the tail, and going to the side 90 degrees is almost possible as well. And then there's obviously some bends here, but they're all folded up for Dino Emperor for later. And then we do get we can move the feet up and down and have very nice pivot joints as well. This is something very uncommon for other, like, you know, dinosaur robots I've seen so far from other brands or other series as well. And then the tail does not wiggle because obviously this becomes a sword later. And then the top section, you can see the side skirts all folded up to the side, onto the back. In this case, onto the back. So they try to really hide a lot of aspects of Dino Emperor in here. Now, in order to transform or for the combination, first you gotta pull off the tail, and then the tail just flip up here, and then you get the sword as well. Kind of like it may look a little bit boring, but it works in the show. So let's just put it that way. And then now from here you start extending the legs as much as possible, because obviously Dino Emperor, he needs to stand, and you extend it as much as possible. Now just looking at it like this, it looks like this thing itself can be its own mech, but unfortunately each Dinobot or dinosaur mech here does not transform into its own robot. So I would like to point that out. So here we're done with the legs. Let's go to the main body or chest to see what we need to do. So number one, you have these parts here. So before that, make sure you uplift these parts here, the back skirts of the dinosaur mode, and then you close them up and lock them into place like that. Now this part can be a little bit stiff, but it works. And then make sure you kind of pull them upwards and then pull it down, because it's a little bit on the lower side. And then for the T-Rex arms, which is kind of obvious what to do, is just pull them down like that. And then now for the head or head of the Dino Emperor, this is what you gotta do. So he's looking upwards. First you go back. Now that seems a little bit cruel, but that's the way how it works. And then you do this. So you fold the neck here, and then you open the mouth, and then there's something here you can see. You can get it and lock it into place, and now you have the head. Very cool looking head as well. And then as you can see from here, we just basically slap everything on here, the legs, the arms, the wings, and you're good to go. Alright, so I think for more stability, I think we're gonna look at Emperor Brachio as well. So let's continue on. Yeah, for now let's just continue on. I guess we could try that out. Alright, so Brachio, now this one is definitely a little bit more of the oddball. I've never seen a toy that works like this guy, but yeah, so this one is literally a solid brick. The legs don't move. The only thing we have that moves is like the wheels on the legs, so that he can actually roll like that. He can roll. Yeah, that's even mentioned in the manual. And then the head, you can technically, I believe you are able to open the mouth if you can even reach. There we go. You can open the mouth, and that is pretty much it. The neck itself doesn't really move because it's on a peg here, and then you can shorten the neck, but that's more for the combination. Same goes for the tail. You can push it in, but more for the transformation here. And yeah, this one is like the most simplest one of all as well. So the way how this works is that first you split them in two. You split them in two, and then you pull out the head. Yes, that sounds a bit cruel. And then you flip it up. That becomes the feet. Close this part up, and then put it on the ground, and then you lower the neck, extend like that, and then all you need to do is just stick it in there. So there are all these lines and grooves and like peg and hole systems going on here. So everything should fit in place, and because as you can see, if you're not sure which foot is left and right, make sure to try moving the feet like this, since it's moving like that. So this should be the left feet. And then kind of similar to what we did, but slightly different. So in this case, you flip it up, do this, and then I believe it's, yeah, this way. And then kind of similar, you pull it in and then connect. And there you go, you have the other leg. Now from here, just to make sure that you know which one is left and right. And from here, you just need to click it, just plug it in there. So you can see there's a gigantic peg in there, and then there's a gigantic hole in the leg here. And there's also a few more clips that clips here in the areas. You just need to align it. Oh boy. Yeah, make sure you're doing this right. But yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult. Basically, align the thing, and you're good to go. Sorry for hitting the camera there. Same goes for the other leg. There we go. Yeah. It takes a few turns, a few trials to get the feeling what it's like to get the right, feeling of the combination, and make sure you open up those ankles because you don't want him trying to slide all over the place. So you have the legs here, and you have the legs connected or completed. Now my only gripe is that the feet, or not the feet, but the legs in general feel a little bit too chunky for my taste. I don't know, maybe this is just an engineering, thing, or maybe there's just limitations on, or they tried to really match how it looks, but I think they could have made it a little bit slimmer on the legs so that you have, a little bit extra room so that these parts don't actually collide too often. So once again, that's just a small nitpick from me, but for now, all right. So now things are getting a little bit bigger and taking over the camera. Let's put this guy away, and then I'll be right back with one of the arms. Okay, I'm back. So just in case, this is my second take of this part, because on the process on my previous one there was a memory card error, so I lost it. So I'm taking this shot again. Also, I'm filming it at an entirely different time, so the lighting or everything could be may be different. All right, so this is Emperor Tricera. So in Korea, the Triceratops is obviously, in English pronunciation is Triceratops, but in Korean it's the pronunciation is Triceratops. So the Sera will be in Kera. So which is why this is called Emperor Tricera in Korean. So just wanted to just point that out. All right, so once this guy for Dino Emperor, he becomes the right arm as well. So obviously it's a Triceratops, pretty looking convincing. I do like the overall proportions here, and yeah, it looks pretty handsome. All right, so obviously it has the basics, so you can lower the head down that much, but that's mostly for the transformation. And then I believe you should be able to open the mouth pretty well. Yeah, that's as far as you can go. You can see some inner detail. The horns are, well, this one you don't need to worry about. These long ones have a little bit of rubberish material, so they won't break that easily as well, so you don't need to worry about that as well. Now, technically speaking, you can twist the head as well, but this is coming from the main articulation of Dino Emperor as well, so do as you will. Okay, let's see what else we got. So here we have the legs here, so 4 legs. So let's get the back legs first, because these are kind of static. So this part does not rotate at all. The only part that moves is like this. It can go upwards, but this is mostly for the transformation process, and go down, and that's as far as it can go. The red pieces do move on its own, can go back and forward, but this is as far as it can go. Same goes to the feet. Yeah, there you go. You can go backwards and forwards, and that's as far as you can go. Now the front part does have a little bit more leverage. So once again, in this mode, it's currently locked in place. So in this case, it can go back that much, and then forward that as far as it can go. Feet, pretty much the same situation. But what you can do is currently locked in place, but what you can also lift this part up and you can see it will go up and reveals this is the joint. So technically when transforming you need to rotate this 180 and then lock into place again. So just wanted to point out you do have a little bit more extra articulation here, but I'm not sure if this should be considered articulation because it's for the transformation. And finally we have the tail. The tail is just pretty much static, but you can see something down there. You can lift up the tail to reveal Dino Emperor's hand. So yeah. Alright, so let's try out the transformation here. So the transformation is pretty simple. I'm just gonna do the basic ones first. I'm gonna extend this part first. And then let's do this. And then I believe you have to rotate these parts. And then there's another hole here which you need to lock into place. There we go, and there you go. So you have to align the things very correctly, and then obviously on the feet here there's a hole, there's a peg. You lock this place as well. So yeah, there's a lot of locking mechanisms here when you think about it. So I think the designers really wanted to make sure that there's nothing loose or nothing looking like too awkward or protruding out once it's in Dino Emperor form. So in here you lift up these gold parts, and then you just pretty much fold the legs inwards and you're good to go. So once again, as I mentioned before in my previous part, there is no stickers. Everything is part separated or colored, so you don't need to worry about applying stickers or worrying about them. Alright, so now you lift down the head, and since this is going to be the right arm, so make sure you rotate it like that, and here we have a very familiar looking connecting port, and then just move the hand into the right correction and move the thumb outside as well. And you're good to go. And there we go. We have the right arm for Dino Emperor. So pretty cool, pretty chunky, but once again, considering his size, this looks pretty cool and okay, because once again, I've seen a lot of toys out there combined this where the arm is has a very small hand and a very chunky looking proportion, but this one looks pretty well balanced. Alright, so then we'll look at the left arm, which will be Dino Emperor Demetrodon, or Demetro. I think that's what's it called, yeah. Emperor Demetro. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have Emperor Demetro. So once again, this guy will become the left arm, but also will be providing the shield of Dino Emperor as well. So looking at the dino form itself, looks pretty cool. I think he looks pretty faithful to his actual real dinosaur counterpart. Once again, you can open up the mouth, pretty cool looking. I do like the teeth, everything, and how it looks, pretty handsome. Unlike look, the right arm section, this should have the same articulation, but because of the part on the back, it prevents it from rotating its head. Just wanted to point that out. Looking at the side, you can see the legs have a little bit more movement here, so you can extend the leg like that, but once again, this is mostly for the transformation. So yeah, so you have the shoulder can go up and down like that, but that's it. And then the legs can go backwards that much and then forward that much as well. And the feet, as you can see, does have a little bit of range of movement. Now the back legs do have a little bit more movement, slightly. So it's a little bit stiff for some reason, but it seems like it should be able to go 360, but something is locking that in place. So it does have a little bit of wiggle, like you can see there, but that's pretty much it. And the back legs here, once again, can backwards and forwards is possible. Same goes for the feet as well. Now in this case, you do need to align it. Like unlike Tricera, once you pull out all the feet and later, they all align as far as you can go. But this one, you do need to slightly match like the angle or location as on your own. So just be aware of that. So this other side, same situation. So let's see what we can do. So, and obviously this product also comes with its own medal. Here is the ancient medal of Dino Emperor, looking pretty cool inside his back fin here. So what you can do here is detach the whole back section, which becomes like this, I believe, and then all you need to do is just fold up all the legs, lock them in places as well. Yeah, I believe you do that, and then in this case you open this up. Oops. And this becomes the shield. Now, where does the metal go? Unlike Rex Kaiser, which goes onto the back, or similar to the Dino Commander, which still attaches to the main unit, in this case, this guy goes onto the shield. This thing goes on the shield, it locks it into place, and that is it. I'm not sure that's a really ideal spot, but yeah, it works. So this is actually a shield, but also becomes a weapon, like a stabbing weapon, a shield, and also can fire a very energy laser beam from the shield as well. So pretty, multifunctional, if you ask me. Now, taking off the, the back of the dinosaur now reveals the hand. So just wanted to point that out. So let's just do the basics. Let's pull him out. And then since this is going to be the left arm, let's make him face forward and rotate it like that. And the rest is pretty much very basic. Close him up, and then lock him into place like that. Same goes here, lock it up, and then once again. And there we go, you have the left arm. Very convincing looking. And just to give you another proportion is that there is a giant white peg here which goes into here, and then there's these two other small pegs here that you can connect. So you do not use this this lower one, so just be aware of that. And then just connect it, and there you go. You have a shield, but also a weapon at the same time. All right, so we'll be looking at the final unit, which is Emperor Patera. So yeah, it's pterodactyl, but once again in Korean it's called Patera. So yeah, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have Emperor Patera. So once again, it's a purple pterodactyl mecha unit. This one has the least amount of transformation. I would like to point that out, but let's see what we got. So once again, it's looks convincing enough to be a pterodactyl. Obviously, the head can go up and down like that. No rotating point, but it can open its mouth. Pretty, it's pretty standard. Now the wings can rotate, or kind of rotate. So it can rotate not 360, but a good range of amount. And then the wings can flap, it can go up and down, but not exactly as much as you think. There's a limit here, and then there's another part here that can flap up and down. Now this part does move quite a good amount. And then the end tip wings, you can move up and down, or forward and backward, depending on how you look at it. But once again, mostly for pterodactyl mode, it's going to be in this form, and when it's in Dino Emperor mode, I believe it goes up like that. And that is pretty much it for the wings. And for the feet, you do have a little bit of range, so you have this gray part that rotates, not 360, but go up and move forward and backward as well. And then this black part, let's see, yeah, let me just double check, there we go. Yeah, I may have folded up the legs a little bit too much, but once again, you can move it outwards and inwards like that, and then the feet can move forward and backward. Now for the transformation, this guy is very simple. Just fold up the legs and feet like that, and then for the wings, you straighten them up like that. Same goes for the other side. Now you might need to move these gray. You might need to rotate these gray areas depending how you go with it. But once again, all you need to do is, they're supposed to push in like that. Yeah, you push them in. You're basically locking them into place. Move the flap upwards. Fold up the hands or claws inside, and then you pull out these two black pegs, and you're good to go. So of course, while you're attaching to the back, make sure you're aligning everything with this and these two pegs here, these clip joints as well, and make sure the legs don't get in the way as well. Alright, so I'm going to bring out everything else, and then we'll do the final combination, which we already did on the previous part, which I already combined Emperor Tyrano and the Brachio together, because obviously Brachio becomes the feet, and I don't think it's really necessary to show that in camera again. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have all the preparations done. Now let's combine it one by one. So since we already did the leg part, now let's look at the arm areas as well. So the arms, obviously, if you have Rex Kaiser or seen the review, you're pretty familiar. There's basically a sliding joint here, so that goes from up to down. So it can't go down, you have to only connect it to up, so you don't need to worry about them falling out too easily. So once again, we have a very familiar looking joint here. All you need to do is just slide it in from top to bottom, and you're good to go. We have the right arm connected. Same goes for the other arm. So make sure you're holding it correctly. Once again, use these parts as well to slide in, and there we go. Now they're not too stiff. They're they're basically just the right strength, so you don't need to struggle on trying to push it in all the way in or anything. you shouldn't have too many issues. And then now looking at the back here, now we have this joint here, right here. There's a big hole there, that's a joint, and then there's these two smaller joints as well. If you remember on Emperor Patera, you can see there's 3 joints here. All you need to do is align them correctly. So on the process, you may need to adjust and make sure the head goes inside the gigantic dinosaur head. Yeah, this part may be a little bit tricky to do in camera, but once you have it in, yeah, it's a very firm connection. You don't need to worry about falling off as well. And there you go, you have Dino Emperor. Alright, so let's go back, let's make the camera go forward, and let me just increase the length of the tripod. Now once again, I think this is one of the biggest things I've reviewed on this desk so far, which is why you can see the LED very close to the unit as well. Now before we go into any articulation here in this form, let's just do a quick size comparison. So here is next to a 1:144 scale HG kit, which you can't even see on the camera here. So just to give you guys a general idea, that's how a typical 1:144 scale HG size kit is, like that. So Gunpla kit 1:144 scale wise as well. So there's a huge difference. Although I'm not sure if this would be the same size as a 1:60 perfect grade kit. Once again, I have never built one yet, so I'm not really sure how big the scale is. Even though if I bring out a mass grade, this thing would still kill it. So that's that. Now, for those who have any other robot toys or Korean toys, the most famous one would be Rex Kaiser recently. And even with Rex Kaiser, now Rex Kaiser is not on the small side, but look at that, there's a huge difference. Which means this is still way bigger than Dino Commander as well. So yeah, I am amazed by the size of this thing. Now of course, those who have something called Justice Titan, which was from the previous series of Miniforce, and that was not my cup of tea, so I didn't buy that, never had interest in that one. They, I believe Gundam Holic made a comparison, maybe they're roughly the same size or at least height wise, but in terms of mass, this guy is has more mass than that one as far as I understood his review. Alright, so let's see what we got. So let's start from the top, I guess. So once again, one of the big things I do like about Dino Emperor, other than his size, is the head design. Really loving the head design there. So instead of trying to make it look human or alive or have emotions, it's just a like ancient mech. You can tell like, oh yeah, now that's a mech. That's an ancient hero style design here. So you can see it has all the dino-ish like helmet going on here, and because it's on a ball joint, you have some free range of movement. Even the neck can pops out like that, and then you can go forward that much, although I'm not sure if that's necessary. And then going upwards, pretty much okay. And then 360 twist seems possible. Let me check, and yes, 360 twist is possible. So very well done. Alright, now in terms of the chest, so I do like the overall color scheme going on here. Granted, it might be on the more colorful side, but once again, I do like all these engravings. The fact that these are all either painted or color separated or part separated is just amazing. 0 stickers. Once again, I would like to emphasize this as well. Alright, so now let's look at the arms. So the arm articulation, each side should be the same despite how they look different. So let's just take one for example. This side, since we're not holding the sword yet. So the arms can rotate like that. Now in theory should be able to go 360, but once again the wings are blocking the way, so it might be tricky, so you might need to go to the side and then go finish the rest of the rotating point. Speaking of the arms, you can go to the side 90 degrees, but I believe the middle body also has some extra movement here. Oh shit, sorry about that. I believe, yeah, I've done this before, but this part, it might be a little bit stiff, but oh well. Or unless I'm mistaken with something else. There we go. Sorry about that to startle you. But yeah, there is a little bit more pull there, but this part is very stiff. As you can see, I kind of struggled there. So going more than 90 degrees is possible, so just want to point that out. But that part is very stiff for some reason. Now, I think I mentioned this previously, but there is no butterfly joint, so you can't move the shoulder forward and backward as well. So just wanted to point that out. Alright, so let me just make some space here. Now for the main body, I think I did mention this, but you do have a rotating point, but after you apply the backpack, the 360 twist becomes a little bit tricky, but it's not, yeah, there are parts like blocking the way, so unless you like, you know, fiddle your way through, like this is as far as you go, 90-degree bend to each side is there, and then, yeah, there is no ab crunch as far as I can tell on this form. There's nothing that's allowing it to move. So that's that. Now, not only it's big, but it's kind of heavy, so that's why I'm starting to sweat a little bit by moving this guy all over the place. Alright, so now let's look at the bottom section here. Let's go a little bit downwards. Actually, no, before we do that, let's look at the arms here. Once again, we already showed the rotating part. Now, you can also rotate the lower arm itself 360 with all of that very familiar ratchet sound noise, and then you can go bend only 90 degrees, but that should be enough for what this is. And the hands can rotate because they're on ball joints, and each finger can move like mentioned previously, but not in the between joints. Just the entire finger can move individually. The thumb is on a ball joint, and you can see there's like 2 pegs here. That is for the sword here, because even the sword has 2 pegs. So instead of having 1 peg, they want, I guess they wanted to guarantee, like, to ensure that the grip strength is there. So yeah. Because I guess we did all experience, like when making with Gunpla or anything else with a joint with a single peg. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So I guess they took notes on that one as well. Now looking at the shield on the other side, nothing too special here. Just the shield is just there, and if you really don't like this aspect, you can just always, you know, pull it out and have each arm in normal usage as well. Alright, so now make sure that the side skirts are in an okay position. Now let's look at the legs. Now the legs are my least favorite part here, because once again I feel like the legs are a little bit on the too fat side, or at least they could have done something to trim these areas down, because the fact that the legs are about to touch each other like that on the lower legs, not the size, yeah, that means it has really fat lower legs. But once again, other than that, there's not much to nitpick about. Alright, so now let's start with the basics here. Now the legs, oh boy, there's something here. Okay, let me just look. So the legs do have a ratchet, they have a ratcheted side joint, but once again, because of how fat the legs are, you're not going to be rotating that 360, obviously. And then going to the side, oh boy, that's heavy. 90 degrees is possible. Now, thanks to those ratchet joints, it can stay up there, but once again, question is how long, but yeah. Oh boy, that's and then finally, going forward, not exactly 90 degrees as possible, because these parts are just like colliding with each other. I guess you could kind of force it, but I don't think that's really necessary as well. But yeah. And then going to the back also is possible, but not full, because there are stuff blocking the way. Now I think Gundamholic did mention a few parts, tips on the legs here regarding articulation. So what you can do is you can go forward, and then the bend is very basic here. So you get a 90-degree bend, but if you can detach the front connection here, oh boy, there is a front connection, and then you can go a little bit more. But once again, this is like kind of unofficial, and the fact that you need to detach something, I would say not exactly ideal, but it's there. Oh boy, yeah. The feet are definitely on the heavy and big size as well. And finally, the feet. Now, the feet cannot rotate, and they're not exactly on ball joints. Originally, they're going to be like this flat, but once you have in Dino Emperor form, you can detach this connection here on the inside, and then have a little bit of a slanted feet here going on here. Now, once again, the reason why I really love Rex Kaiser is that you do have a little bit more control than that, because the feet, not exactly it's on ball joints, but once again, it has multiple joints here, so you do have a little bit more control. In this case, yeah, this one kind of lacks the control, but once again, I can understand, because it's such a huge and heavy unit. They would rather have something huge, firmly on the ground, 90 degrees straight, so that you don't mess up or nothing like falls down on its own as well. Alright, so we've seen the basics in the articulation of this guy as well. This is a massive unit as well. Now, as someone who did grow up with Power Ranger stuff, but never with the combining toys, I always seem to, as a kid, fail to find those. So yeah, but once again, I absolutely love those, and I'm really getting that, you know, nostalgic feeling as a kid. But to see something that's more modern and has all the, you know, the juicy articulation is just, I'm just so happy to be alive in this era. All right. Once again, I'll be right back with the equipment, and we'll do with some action poses and end it off there. Okay, I'm back. So I was thinking a lot and trying to think of what kind of pose to do, but I guess we could do the most basic, charging with a shield, and sword on the other hand pose as well. Now, because how massive this guy is, trying to get the right pose or getting, something that I can put it all in camera was not easy. But once again, yeah, here you have with all the shield and sword on the way. It's a really massive of a toy, even for kids standard. Yeah, I think even though this was meant to come out for kids as toys, but once again, I think the designers had some other thoughts. Yeah, let's also make it look good and cool and good quality, so that other old fans or anybody who loves mecha would appreciate it. And I think they nailed that as well. Now, once again, I was able to get this because I am Korean and living in Korea. Now, for those outside of Korea, I apologize, but I have zero clue or zero idea how you are going to be able to get this. And once again, please do not request me to get you one and then send you one, because once again, it's already pretty expensive. But the fact that I have to send you a huge box that's also heavy to another country, you're gonna practically will be like paying double or even triple the price. So I don't think that's gonna be worth it. But anyway, yeah, this was the review of the Dino Emperor, the last unit to come out from the series, although it didn't really have much showtime compared to the lengths or how ancient or supposed to be big this guy is. But once again, it did play a role in the series at the end to make the overall the ending meaningful as well. Once again, it's a huge kit, so if you're going to display this, make sure you have a lot of space as well. Anyway, if you guys got any questions or requests, in the comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.